Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I want to do something just to kind of help out maybe first-time snake owners or people that are thinking about picking up a corn snake. I got a corn snake about 5 months ago, just a little baby, and I've been caring for him here, and I just wanted to share with you guys like my experience, and especially just sort of like all of the stuff that was involved, the things that I think you're gonna need. Just kind of just give you guys a heads up of like, the things that you want to consider, kind of, holistically about keeping your animal, because I've found this to be a really great experience so far. So for starters here, obviously you're gonna want an enclosure. This one that I picked up is an Exoterra. This is like their medium, sort of like low style, terrarium. And what's nice about this, it has a latch here, which it's really secure. The whole thing is very secure. My snake has never gotten out of it because of the construction of it. Um, the the caveat to that being that I have let him out of it once, but yeah, it has these doors that open on the front, which is really nice. You're not going into it from above all the time. I think that's really worth it. I like it a lot. It also means like you could stack these maybe if you wanted or something. I don't know if that would be recommended, but it's nice having the windows on the front at any rate. Um, so, I got some things for the inside of the enclosure. And I'm just going to lift the camera up here just a little bit. I don't know how well you can see. But on this side, there's a warm hide. It's just something that I got at the pet store. And, each of these things is going to cost $5 or $10 each, something like that. I grabbed a stick here, and as far as I know, you can get like driftwood or something like that. But there is a concern of like, are there things living in it? Is there like bacteria or bugs or that sort of thing? So from what I've heard, you want to bake them, and I didn't want to have to worry about any of that. I'd recommend just getting something from a pet store. This one in particular, I actually got at a reptile show, but they'll have them at any pet store. I also got another hide over here. This is his cool hide. It's kind of shaped like some rocks. I thought it would just be sort of nice to have a little visual variation there. He does use both of them. It took him a little while before I really felt comfortable that he was using every part of his enclosure. But these work exactly as intended. I also got him this little plastic tree. It's I wanted something in there just kind of like visually to make it look nice, but it turns out that he really likes this a lot. It's kind of this dense foliage, again, it's just plastic, but he actually, especially when he was little, he used to love to get into it, and even now he still really likes it. I'll show you where he is right now. He's under that bush. So I'm really glad that I got it because he finds it really fun. And he also, it helps him to shed. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. I got a water dish here. You're going to want, this corner dish is really nice just because it kind of works well with the, you know, just having space in the enclosure. And it's heavy. Again, something I got at the pet store. You're going to want to get something that's big enough so that the snake can actually get in it and kind of submerge and fit its whole body into it. I haven't actually seen my snake. His name is Houdini. He's a Miami phase corn snake. And I haven't actually seen him get into this. It's possible that he has before, but as far as I know, he's never made use of this in that way. Other things on the inside of the enclosure, you're going to want to be able to measure the humidity and the temperature in here. So I ended up, you're basically going to want two thermometers anyway. I have one on this end and I have one on this end. The reason for that is you're going to want to provide a temperature gradient inside of here. Right now, I have this one just a little above the water dish, and it reads about 71 degrees. And on the other end, I have one again just a couple inches off of the floor where I have a heat mat underneath, and that's about 81 degrees or so. So there's about a 10-degree temperature variance in just the kind of the air temperature in here, which I think is sufficient for this kind of snake. And yeah, so basically the other thing that you want, for the enclosure is a heat pad is what I ended up getting for this. You want some kind of heat source. It doesn't have to be a heat pad. Due to my research, it seemed like a lot of people use it. A lot of people were pretty happy with it. So it's like a Zoo Med or Zoo Tech or something. like heat pad for reptiles, and it's adhesive, so it actually sticks to the bottom of the enclosure. From what I read in the instructions, you can also put it on the side. In fact, I think they recommended that, but just again from my research, it seemed like most people do put it on the bottom to provide belly heat for the animals. Now, to go along with that, though, what I noticed is like when I first installed it and plugged it in, it got quite warm, much warmer than this particular snake needs. So I wanted to get some way to regulate that temperature. Now that company also has. I'm just going to aim this down here. They have a product that does this. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's basically just a little like it's a dimmer switch for the most part. And for my purposes for this pad and the temperature range that I wanted, this was not sufficient. It wouldn't get cool enough. So what I ended up getting is kind of on the floor here, and I apologize if it is messy because it is. But you can see that little white box there. That is a oh, what do you call it? It's a dimmer switch that I got at a hardware store. So that works quite well. And it's going to basically just let you, adjust until you get it to where your pad is only getting enough power to be at the right temperature. And for me, I keep it at about like 88, 89 degrees. There are like probably a couple pockets on it that are almost up to about 90 degrees, but right around in there seems to be good for Houdini. And that's my corn snake's name. And yeah, I just wanted to basically make sure that the mat itself, or maybe not the mat itself, but the glass that it's on isn't any warmer than that, because he can easily make contact with that glass. So that seems to work really, really well for him. Some other things that I ended up picking up, you can see here to hold some lights. This is a kind of a dual light fixture here, and this is made specifically for pets. I basically have one like LED daylight bulb in it, and I have one small like low wattage blue bulb. It's something I got on Amazon. It's essentially the kind of thing that they would use for like lighted sign displays and stuff like that. I mostly just got it because it would fit in a normal light socket, and I just wanted a little like blue or some sort of like you know low powered glow in here in the evening. Just for me, so I can still see what's going on in there and stuff like that. I do have this on a day-night cycle, and I'll maybe put a picture up. But it's another product, I believe, from that same company. That it just is a timer that it's going to turn some of the sockets on at a certain time of the day, and then turn those off and some of the other sockets on at the other time of the day. So basically I have this light off right now completely, just because my corn snake, honestly, he's shy and he doesn't really move around in his enclosure during the day. Now I've heard conflicting information that corn snakes are diurnal, so they're active during the day, that they're crepuscular, so that they're active kind of at dusk. I am trying to think if I've heard that they're nocturnal. I'm not entirely sure what they're supposed to be, but my corn snake comes out during my night cycle. So when the light goes off, he likes to come out, explore his surroundings, get into his tree, poop, get a drink of water, whatever it is that he needs to do, and that's just how he does it. So I'm glad that I have that kind of day-night cycle for him. So anyway, so I did turn this light off because I thought maybe if there were a little more shadows and it just wasn't quite as bright in here, maybe he'd just be a little more comfortable. So I've had that off for a little while, but I also have this floodlight here. This wasn't anything I was planning to get. I wanted to just have his heat mat be his source of heat, but when I was thinking about it, he's got this stick, and I thought maybe he might like to come out on the stick and sun once in a while. So I wanted to have something that approximates, radiant heat coming from above. So I picked this up. I just screwed it to the wall. There's a little fixture up there that that's holding it, and there's that. So let me just go over some of the other things here that I ended up picking up. I have two spray bottles. These are super handy. One has water in it, and it's basically like spring water that I buy in jugs from the uh, grocery store. The reason I do that and I don't just use my tap water is I spray in here pretty much every day. Just to keep like an appropriate level of humidity for my snakes, especially because it's just been winter and it gets super dry in here. So they like this snake in particular is from Florida, so it's kind of warm and humid down there. So I try to keep the humidity at least at 50% or so. It does dip below that. Sometimes it goes way below that. But I want to make sure that he has enough humidity. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's something that at least I have been doing pretty much every single day is spray the enclosure. This is also this disinfectant. And what I ended up getting, just because I read good things about it, is this stuff here. I ordered it online. I think I got it from Amazon. It's F10. This is a, like, I don't know what you want to call it, like it's a veterinary disinfectant that's used by like a lot of vets and things like that. It's supposed to be really good, just a really high quality, works well, kind of a product. So I figured, I might as well just get that myself. It comes concentrated, so there's this is gonna last forever. This is basically like, I think the calculations for diluting it are all based on like something pretty large, like a gallon maybe. So I had to just redo the calculations for like this is 550 milliliters. I think, and there's ounces here up to 18 ounces like you can measure on this. So I did whatever the calculations were to figure out how much I would want to put in here, and it ended up being like half a teaspoon or something like that. It wasn't very much. Don't quote me on that. Do your own calculations. But basically, you just mix this with water, and it's good. It works. So there's that. I have a toothbrush just to kind of, when I'm cleaning the tank, just to kind of get in the corners. This I have found to be invaluable. Nobody really told me to get this. I just knew that this was going to be really handy. It's a laser thermometer. So you can just point it at anything, shine the laser. This is my skin temperature, 91, 90 degrees, somewhere around in there. Actually, I don't know if I should do that to my hand for too long, but I don't think this is dangerous in any way. It just measures the temperature on whatever the laser is striking. So it's really, really handy for being able to tell any place inside of this enclosure, and you have to open it up so you're not just hitting the glass surface. But you can tell what the temperature is for anything in there. So I can at a glance just see what the temperature is on that, the glass where the mat is touching or anything. So really, really handy. There's also, whoops. Poop scoop there. That's going to be handy for scooping stuff out. Anyway, it's also handy just for getting like the shavings of the bedding and stuff out of there too. And I have a little container over here. Maybe not so little, but it's it's a plastic container. That's basically what I keep my snake in when I have to clean the tank, or I just want to have him out and I don't want him to be like zooming around all over the place. So yeah, so that's most of what you need to be concerned about. I did get some bedding. Of course, this is aspen. From what I read, you do want to make sure that you're getting a kind of bedding that's going to be good for snakes. Yeah, I've heard that you can't use pine. There might be some other stuff that you're not going to want to use, but it's going to say on it what kind of animals, and read about it. Don't completely go by what I say, but I know aspen is safe for corn snakes. And yeah, the person at the pet store I feel like led me a little bit astray with this, because mostly I just wanted something that was affordable. I didn't want to be like spending a whole bunch on like changing the bedding for my snake every month or so. And so I ended up getting this big thing of aspen shavings, and this is like half of it is still left after 5 months, and this cost me like $10. So it's been super affordable. But I probably could have gone with some of the more expensive stuff, and it would have been just fine. I did originally want to have the bedding sort of sculpted in here, so he had a little bit of a hill that he could climb up, and I realized before long that was a really bad idea, at least for me, because basically with a lot of stuff in there, he's going to get under anything that he can. So I realized I didn't want a whole lot of bedding in there because he's just going to like dive under it and I'll never see him again, or find him when I need him. So this is perfect. I just have a thin layer of the bedding down. He still just hides 90% of the time, unless it's night, and at which point he'll come out. But yeah, so that works out. That works out pretty well. But there's some other stuff that you can use if there's like some nicer looking bedding, or I think some of the bedding will hold moisture better, which would probably help with my humidity issues in here. But like I said, I spray it down a couple times a day, and I think that that's perfectly sufficient. The other thing that I've started to do is in his warm hide, I think it dries out in particular because it's a higher temperature. So especially when they're shedding, this was my first issue that I had, is he got a little bit of stuck shed. And that happens when the humidity is too low and it's dry. So he got a tiny bit of stuck shed on the end of his tail, maybe the last 2 millimeters of it or so that I didn't notice. I'd gotten everything else off, and he was doing fine, but he actually ended up, he grew, and he lost the very, very tip of his tail. I saw it kind of like come off in his next shed. Now, I felt bad about that, but I don't think it's a huge deal. If you see him, he's really healthy, he's really big, he has, he looks like he has a full tail, he's fine. It's just one of those things you want to watch out for, especially their eyes. From what I've heard, it can be really bad if their shed gets stuck on their eyes, because then they can have trouble. They can go blind and things like that. So I think that'll focus. This is his last shed, which is really good. It's the whole thing came off really nicely, and you can see the little eye scales there came off just fine. So this is what you want: a whole, full, complete shed. The very tip of the tail. Oops. There it is. Pretty much got the whole thing. So what helps with that is just when you see that they're starting to shed, get some, I just get like a paper towel and I wet it and just sort of crumple it up into a little ball, and I stick it into his warm hide. I even do that most of the time in his warm hide, actually, just so he has enough humidity in there. It seems like when it dries out, he'll move out, and I'll go, oh, I'll go get a wet paper towel, put it in there. He'll be back in there within, a half hour. So, humidity is an issue. It's really easy to solve with just a little, moist paper towel. I change it like once a day. I keep it in, at least during the winter, I've kept one in his warm hide most of the time, but especially when they're shedding, it's important. And as long as you do that, he's had perfect sheds. So, that's just a little learning experience. I will say that another nice thing to have is a scale, because it does help to be able to weigh the animal. I'm following a feeding chart, and it goes by grams of the weight of the animal, and also grams of like the weight of the food. Although I haven't really been weighing the food, I've just sort of been like eyeballing it. But the weight of the snake is helpful to know, because if they say like if the snake, once it gets to be over 50 grams, you're gonna want to move up to feeding them hoppers as opposed to fuzzies. So yeah, the initial investment in this stuff, I don't want to say exactly what it was. I need to build the shelf, the brackets, and like all of the stuff. It was a few $100 anyway. But after that, and of course the animal itself, it's been really affordable, because I haven't even had to get bedding for 5 months, and the food is cheap. I think the mice, you start them off at pinkies and then go up to fuzzies and then hoppers, and I'll go grab mine so you can see what they look like. There we go. So here's a little bag of mice. They're frozen. I wasn't sure if I'd be like a little squeamish about this, but like I'm not at all. It's super, like, ever since the first little batch of these that I got, and I'm fine touching them, I'm fine defrosting them, I'm fine feeding them to my snake. It's no big deal. I understand if some people are like, oh, it's cruel, feeding an animals, but I mean, stop and think. Don't be hypocritical here. Unless you're like a vegan out of ethical, or vegetarian out of ethical concerns. I mean, I eat chicken and beef and pork and fish. And I mean, I understand that you're killing something to feed me, but that's what I eat. And I eat chicken. My snake eats mice. Cats eat mice. I mean, it's normal. So anyway, so you get these at the pet store. They're like $1 each, pretty much. I think once they get bigger, they'll be a little bit more. But this one, this I think is actually a hopper, technically. So this is like a little bit bigger. This is what I'll be feeding here now. And then the ones that I have been feeding him, you can see they're a little smaller, are called the fuzzies. It's just how big they are, I think. So you're going to want to feed something that's like the right size for the snake, that's all, especially as they're growing. You just want to make sure you get the right ones for their weight. So yeah, feeding. When I first started when Houdini was young, he's a little nippy. He's just defensive, and he's just gonna be really alert and suspicious of whatever it is that you're doing. But he wasn't too interested in eating. He was like more a little bit like sort of fight and flight. I'd put a mouse near him and he'd just sort of run away. So what I found that I wanted to do is just take the mouse, pinkies that are actually, they don't have any hair on them, was the original ones, and put them on a little tray and just leave them in there overnight. And if he'd come out and eat it, that's great. If he wouldn't, I'd throw it away. I'd bring another one out in a day or two. Works fine. After a while, he eats from tongs like a champ now. No troubles. Another thing that I've been doing is keeping a little diary. This is just like a little set of like post-it notes. And so I've got, when I fed him, I was keeping track of like about how many days went in between, because I wanted to be feeding him about every 4 days initially. And you can see he didn't really want to eat that often to start off with. It was 6 days, 5 days, 7 days, 6 days. He's just a little skittish around food, and that was fine. He started eating every 4 days really well after a while. And then after a while, I just kind of stopped, keeping track. But I just wanted to put down every time I feed him, so I know, when he needs to be fed again. And I've started to keep track of some other information too. Like, he moved up to fuzzies on the 28th of January. I'm gonna have him move up to hoppers here, in April. So I know that. I'm putting down when he shed. He shed on March 14th. And when I clean the enclosure too, he's due, because I think it's been about a month and a half since I cleaned it, so I kind of want to get that cleaned up for him. But I've cleaned it a few times since I've had him, and that's about it. I'll go ahead and show you Houdini, see how he's doing, and yeah, if I think of anything else, I'll mention it. So this is going to be shaky cam from here, so I apologize about that. But yeah, so like I said, he's hiding out under his tree right now. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna take him out and actually like play with him and hang out with him here a little bit. But he's right back in there, and he could be sleeping for all I know. There, you can see he's alive there. He's so cute. How you doing, bud? I would, take him out, but I think I'll take him out later. It's gonna be hard for you guys to tell, like, how much he's grown and stuff like that. But he's, he's probably 5 or 6 months old, and he's grown a lot since he was a little, hatchling. So, he's over a foot now. He might even be about 1.5 feet, and he's doing great, aren't you, bud? Yeah. It's so funny. He's sitting there perfectly still. I'm probably like, is he alive? But he is. You can. I like to just see him breathing and stuff. You can see taking his breaths. But yeah, he's a little sweetheart. Like I said, he's shy and he likes to just be on his own. But he's fine when I take him out. He's great. And I'm not gonna go over all like handling and all that stuff necessarily, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overview of what it's like. I found this super rewarding. I hope I haven't scared anyone away too badly, but you want to provide them with a really good environment, and some place that they're going to be happy. And I I've loved snakes ever since I was a kid, and I've always wanted one. I never really asked for one because, I think I just figured, one, taking care of a pet is a responsibility, and two, I didn't think my folks would be too into it. But I'm an adult, and I decided that I wanted this guy in my life, and it's the nice thing is like the upkeep after the initial stuff is cheap. Like I said, maybe a buck every 5 days for a meal, and you just gotta, check for poops and make sure that the change the water. I change the water every 2 days, pretty much. And like I said, clean out maybe once a month, and I take him out after he's eaten. You don't want to like disturb them too much after they've eaten for about 24 to 48 hours. So I just leave them alone. I'll check in on them, just say hi. But after that, I'll take him out, and he likes to poop outside of his enclosure. So now I'm trying to like give him an opportunity to do that, like in his container or something, so it's not like on my couch or my lap or whatever. But yeah, they're gonna poop pretty much like once or twice in between feedings. So there's usually a good 2 or 3 days where they're just gonna be pleasantly placid and fed, and they're just a lot of fun to have. I take him out during that time period every day, so I usually get to take him out 2 or 3 days, every 5 or 6 days or so, and I love it. Every day that I get to come home and or just wake up and you know check on him, see how he's doing, and give him some water and stuff. I enjoy it, so I'm really happy to have him. So that's all. I hope that this was informative. If you guys have any questions, let me know. By no means an expert. Like I said, I'm just a first-time snake owner. But I figured, it might be nice to have a video that really just covers everything that I've run into myself so far. I will say that when he was, a hatchling, he was a little nippy. The main things are that when he's digesting his food, he wants to be left alone. He will, he'll go after you if you're bugging him. And when he's shedding, he's very defensive because they're vulnerable at that point. A lot of times their eyesight is clouded because of their eye scale is coming off and stuff like that, and so they're really on the defensive. You mostly just want to leave them alone. I mean that's all they're telling you if they're striking. Is just, hey, leave me alone. So normally I do that, and most of the time he's just a little sweetheart. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.